Wake up, workers and comrades. It's time to strip away another illusion. Charity exists to keep people quiet, not to fix poverty. Governments let people starve. Billionaires hoard wealth. Charity gives just enough to stop people from rioting, but never enough to change the system. That's why we need something different. That's why we need mutual aid. Unlike charity, mutual aid isn't about the wealthy giving back out of guilt or obligation. It's about solidarity, not charity. It's about communities taking care of each other without waiting for permission from governments, nonprofits, or billionaires. Mutual aid is one of the most powerful tools of resistance, used throughout history to undermine capitalism, challenge the state, and build self-sufficient communities. Let's break down what mutual aid really is, how it's different from charity, and why it's one of the greatest threats to the ruling class. At its core, mutual aid is people helping people, directly, without hierarchy, without bureaucracy, and without permission. It's not a top-down system where the rich decide who deserves help. It's about collective care, shared struggle, and autonomy. Instead of relying on governments or corporations, mutual aid works under a simple truth. We keep us safe. If someone is hungry, mutual aid doesn't make them fill out paperwork. It feeds them. If someone needs housing, mutual aid doesn't put them on a waiting list. It finds them shelter. If a disaster strikes, mutual aid doesn't wait for government aid. It shows up and helps. This is how humans have survived for centuries, by looking out for each other, not waiting for permission. Indigenous communities have practiced mutual aid for thousands of years, from potlatch ceremonies in the Pacific Northwest, where wealth was redistributed collectively, to communal farming and food sharing across Africa, Asia, and the Americas. These traditions existed long before capitalism, and they show that the idea of people taking care of one another isn't radical. What's truly radical is how capitalism tries to make us forget. Charity is a top-down system. It operates under capitalism, where the wealthy control who gets help and on what terms. Mutual aid is bottom-up. It's about people taking care of each other, directly and without gatekeepers. Charity is conditional. Mutual aid is universal. Charity reinforces power. Mutual aid redistributes it. Charity treats symptoms, while mutual aid addresses the root causes. Think about food banks. Charity gives food, but only to those who qualify and only as long as the funding lasts. Mutual aid sets up free food distribution with no conditions, ensuring that no one has to prove that they are deserving of survival. Charity often creates dependency. It keeps people relying on donations instead of building real power. Mutual aid builds autonomy. It helps people organize, create sustainable support systems, and fight for long-term solutions. Mutual aid has existed wherever people have been forced to survive under oppression. Here are just a few examples. Black mutual aid networks. During segregation, Black communities were denied access to basic services, so they built their own. Black mutual aid societies provided education, food, and housing when the government refused. The Black Panther Party's free breakfast program fed tens of thousands of children, forcing the U.S. government to expand school meal programs, not out of generosity, but because they feared revolutionary organizing. Next, let's talk about disaster relief mutual aid. When disaster strikes, governments and nonprofits often fail to respond, or only help those they deem worthy. After Hurricane Katrina, the federal government abandoned entire communities. Mutual aid networks like the Common Ground Collective stepped in, providing food, medical aid, and shelter long before FEMA or the Red Cross. After the destruction of Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, mutual aid networks set up solar power, clean water stations, and food distribution centers while the U.S. government dragged its feet. Mutual aid isn't just faster than charity, it's more effective because it comes from the people, not disconnected bureaucracies. Another example of mutual aid networks were those that popped up amidst the pandemic. At the height of COVID-19, when governments refused to help, ordinary people built mutual aid networks overnight. Volunteers delivered groceries, medicine, and protective gear to those in need. Rent relief networks raised money to keep families in their homes when landlords and banks refused. Factory workers and small businesses pivoted to producing masks and sanitizer, often giving them away for free while corporations price gouged. Mutual aid isn't charity. It's a survival tactic. Have you ever seen mutual aid in action? Tell us about it in the comments. Unlike charity, mutual aid builds power instead of reinforcing dependency. When people engage in mutual aid, they learn that they don't need bosses, billionaires, or the state to take care of each other. It creates networks of trust. People who take care of each other will fight for each other. It organizes communities. When people work together, they can challenge systems that exploit them. It undermines the state and capital because it proves that people can meet their own needs without permission from the ruling class. That is dangerous to those in power, and that's why they've always tried to destroy it. Wherever mutual aid has flourished, the ruling class has attacked it. When the Black Panther Party ran free breakfast programs, the FBI labeled them a threat to national security. When rent strikes have been organized, landlords have lobbied for laws criminalizing tenant solidarity. When workers have created strike funds to support each other, corporations have retaliated with union busting. Because mutual aid teaches people that they don't need bosses, billionaires, or the state. That is a threat to those who profit off suffering. And that is why we must do it anyway. Mutual aid is not charity. It's not about the wealthy giving away crumbs. It's about ensuring that no one is left behind. It's about organizing, not just to survive, but to fight. If you're ready to build something better, start now. Find a local mutual aid group, start a community fridge, a bail fund, a rent relief network. Support your neighbors, not the corporations that exploit them. Because once enough of us have stopped waiting for permission, we can start to build a world where no one is left behind. Until next time, comrades, stay sharp, stay organized, and never stop taking care of each other.